Good afternoon. This is Chris Brecher with a Simpler Stocks free video for May 27th, 2016. It's about 21 minutes after the bell. Just got off being from the premium chat where we usually spend about a half hour before the close. I do a bonus session where there are times when I get on and we go over strategies, what earnings are coming out, and so on. Luckily, we were looking at strategies in PANW. And luckily, when I was trying to show them what I do on simpler options and show some kind of option strategies, I said, I'm going to pass on it. I just don't trust it. Thank goodness the stock's down $12. So at least I did that right. So that was good. Other thing in here is let's go over the overall market today. Basically, it was a boring day. What I mean by that, there's always something to do. So don't get me wrong about that. What I mean is everybody's waiting for Yellen tomorrow to speak at Harvard in a commencement ceremony. Whole point is usually when Fed speakers like Bernanke have spoke at those, they don't really say anything. But this is the meat of what went on and what's been going on since Tuesday. The ATR trailing stop, which I have a free video when you get a trial that actually gives you, a synopsis of what the ATR trailing stop is. But as you see, the ESs have just ridden it all the way up. So there's nowhere in here to short it yet. Now the thing is, that's what's been going on today. So even when we have a little bit of a potential, we get oversold real quick and we bounce right back. Now what you see is on a 78, you're going to see the same thing. Usually you get something. We haven't had any kind of sell-off. Now you go to a short term, I'm sure there's some wiggles. As you see in here, there was all this kind of indecision all day. They traded in a narrow range. Like I said, number one, we're working off an overbought condition. Number two, traders are wary because of Yellen speaking tomorrow. Now, a couple of things I want you to see in here. Number one, trend line. This is what we teach on the premium side right there. If that trend line breaks, you could have a little move. That's about 6 points. Nothing to speak of. But there are a couple of other things to look at. Number one, the squeeze. Number two, squeeze on both time periods, which is showing a contraction in volatility. So you could still get an explosive move. Number two, overbought on a daily right at resistance. Now I'm going to put the SPX up here so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. Look at the SPX forming a doji right at resistance. Why does that sound familiar? Because last time it formed a doji right at resistance, and you see what happened then. Another thing to realize in here, and I show this all the time on Simpler Stocks, is you might say, well, we were overbought all these places, and we were overbought back here. The difference is these were overbought not at resistance. You can be overbought all the way up until you hit the walls, so to speak. But look back here. If you go back in the SPX back here, every time it got overbought at resistance here, it sold off. So, don't just dismiss that we're overbought at resistance this time. I'm not saying it won't be different because you got this bull flag on a 15-minute. All I'm saying is just be careful because the probability when it's this overbought at resistance, it doesn't have the ammunition yet to blow through it. That's all I'm trying to say in here. Let me show you some of the other indexes today. Just so you know what I'm talking about in here, is you have you had today the ES is, like I said, up 275. You had the NQs up about 1850, closing almost on their high for the day. You had the Russell down all of 20 cents, very uninspired. Bonds up a little. Now the bonds up actually made the banks go down, and we'll get to that in a second. You had gold down 4, crude down all of 23 cents. Not much going on. Everybody's waiting for tomorrow. Other thing we're waiting for is some government reports in the morning because the Fed just said they're going to be more data dependent than they were. So a lot of the flattening today is people waiting for the government reports at 8:30 in the morning. So definitely keep that in mind. Now, a couple of other things I want to show in here before we go is the bonds. The bonds on a daily are developing this, but what happens that we've seen all year? When it hits resistance and it's overbought, it sells off. When it hits support and is oversold, it rallies. Well, what happens when it rallies? That means that long-term rates are going down. If the Fed tightens, that means short-term rates go up. That makes the yield curve flat. Banks hate flat yield curves. If you see, there's actually been a correlation even in the last couple of days. Look at a 15-minute chart of the bonds. Look at the rally today in the bonds, which makes yields go down, and how Goldman Sachs went down on that. When the bonds had sold off, Goldman Sachs went up. Very interesting to watch that correlation. So just so you know, we have still the $7 30-day trial in Simpler Stocks. Like you know, I love to describe what we have in there. I'm very proud of our site and how it's grown so much in such a short period of time. Just so you know, in here we have the chat room where 9 to 10 in the morning, I go in every day discussing strategies and show potential trades and potential ideas. Premium video, a lot more in depth than what you're hearing now. The email alerts, which includes this, includes index and futures charts, stock trades and chart ideas, and if I see unusual option activity, I'll post it. I'm very picky about this. I don't just post every trade that goes across. It has to be unusual. And I usually accompany that with a chart and give my reason of why this one is important. So definitely keep that in mind. But going back to it in here, we have the meetup where about every 10 days we do an instructional video, and all those go in the Learning Center. The other thing in here, we have the forum where we exchange ideas back and forth 24 hours a day. Here's the Learning Center, all these videos that I can't believe I did for free. It's an incredible value to have all of these added on. Usually all of these are separate classes that cost a lot of money. As long as you're a member, feel free to use this as much as you want. So I hope you can take us up on that. It's really been an amazing deal. We've had literally thousands of people take us up on that. Other thing I wanted to mention, Simpler Trading is having their mentorship in Austin. Trying to get this so you can see it better. June 26th through June 28th. Basically 3 days of intense training. Also hanging out, having drinks, just schmoozing with us. The other thing in here is they're going to have 4 lead speakers. I'm flattered that I'm one of them. So I'll be there the whole time just going through anything you want to ask me, and also about certain topics, which that I'll be happy to go over with you if you just so you know of what I'm doing, just to prep you. So this is going to be a great thing. It usually sells out by June 1st. So if you get a chance, try to jump onto it. Just go to simplertrading/Austin and you'll find it. So I hope everybody has a great night. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will talk to you later.